Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here this morning as the celebrant to help you celebrate the life of Jean Chadderton and also to farewell her with the greatest of respect that she deserves. Been listening to some beautiful music chosen by the family, and we're now going to listen to another piece of music chosen by the family, knowing that Jean would just love it. Enjoy, and then I'll be back for a more formal welcome. again, welcome to this service. Condolences to all of you, and especially to her sons, David and John, and Jean's grandchildren, Jessica, Michael and Tess. This service is being live streamed to family and others who are watching from various places. You are all very, very welcome, and I do hope you feel a sense of connection to those of us here in the chapel in Tasmania. Today we do celebrate all things Jean, including the music that has been chosen because it is music that she enjoyed. In particular, today we feature a piece called Goin' Home by Dvorak. This is a piece that Jean had requested be played at her funeral, whenever that was to be. And so we've included it twice today in two different versions. Now I know that there is a great deal of sadness about Jean's death. It was so unexpected. And it seems so unfair that this wonderful 87-year-old, who I heard all about from her sons when I met with them, this wonderful 87-year-old who was still driving, doing volunteer work and living independently, should leave this world. To reach the age of 87 is an achievement, but I know that it wasn't long enough for you. You did want her to stay with you always. But for her, perhaps that Jean died in the way that she did is a blessing. She would most definitely not have wanted to live in a way that meant she was dependent on others. She would not have wanted to die away from the home that she loved. She was a good person, a helper, and the epitome of a family matriarch. Some words spoken at a family member's service some time ago are very much aligned to the way Jean lived her life. And the words are, "Time is not measured by the years that you live, but by the deeds you do and the joy you give. Each new day as it comes brings a chance for each one of us to love to the fullest, leaving nothing undone that would brighten the life or lighten the load of some weary traveller lost on life's road. So what does it matter how long we may live, if, as long as we live, we unselfishly give?" I know that Jean is so special to all of you. Sometimes on our journey through life, we do meet people who leave footprints on our mind. And then sometimes on our journey through life, we meet people who leave footprints on our heart. They create a safe space for us to open our hearts to feel loved and special. And then sometimes on our journey through life, we meet people who leave footprints on our souls. Jean has left gentle footprints on the minds, hearts and souls of many, many people. So as an individual, may you always remember the special way in which she touched your life. At the conclusion of the service, please stay for refreshments, just through here. No doubt there'll be lots of wonderful memories shared. If you are inclined, donations can be made to the Heart Foundation in Jean's memory, and they can be accepted in the foyer or made online. Today, the eulogy has been written and will be read by Jean's youngest son, John.
Good morning. So thanks to everyone here and online for coming to Mum's funeral today. Particular thanks to Chris, who will be performing a musical piece that Mum really loved. We also have some tributes from absent family and friends to read shortly. To begin, I acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the land on which this funeral is being held today, in Lutruwita, Tasmania. I pay my respects to their families, elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you. So who was Jean Cameron Chadderton? She was mum to me and my brother, David. Grandma to Jessica, Michael and Tess. Wife of Harold Chadderton. But of course, there are many more relatives and friends, and there's a bigger story to be told. You will have known Mum in your own ways and may have reflections and stories to share, so feel free to do so after the service. Thank you. So a little family history to give Mum's life some context. In 1831, George Artis Lovett, a convict from Suffolk, England, arrived in Van Diemen's Land. His wife Esther and their 8 children arrived in 1833. One of their sons, William, married Caroline, the daughter of an Irish soldier, Daniel McGorry, who arrived in Launceston around 1828. One of their 16 children, Julia Lovett, married Henry Lyndhurst Demden, the son of Henry and Emma Demden, who arrived in Tasmania in 1852. Julia and Henry's son, Brian Lovett Demden, married Christina Galt, the daughter of Acting Staff Sergeant Major William Galt, and his wife Mary, who arrived in Tasmania in 1913 from Scotland via New Zealand. Brian and Christina were Mum's parents along with her siblings, Ian, Jeff and Mary. These ancestors and their broader families were convicts, soldiers, civil servants, businessmen, lawyers, churchgoers, bell ringers, professionals, Freemasons, farmers and footballers, artists and including strong women who are supporting and raising large families in colonial Van Diemen's Land and Tasmania. Many attributes of these ancestors were reflected in Mum's character. Orderliness, resilience, self-discipline, loyalty, independence, intelligence, and a strong sense of justice and compassion, often put into the service of family and the wider community. Born in 1933, the early depression, Mum went to Sacred Heart School in Newtown till the age of 7, then Friends School till 1949. Mum lost 2 important beings in her early childhood, her brother Ian, a signalman who died in action in Greece in 1941, and her dog Chip. You will see images of these people in the montage. She went to Technical Business College in 1950 where she qualified as a stenographer. She then worked for her father Brian at the Tasmanian Trade Protection Institute. During this time, she also joined the Women's Royal Australian Army Corps, becoming a corporal by 1954. In 1955, she met our father Harold Chadderton, who was a typewriter mechanic fixing equipment at the Institute and other offices around Hobart. They married in 1955, From 1956 to 58, Mum was the senior typist stenographer at the mines department. Sadly, Mum's parents passed away in 1959 and 1961, around the times her children were born. After initially living in Mount Stewart, our family moved to Burnie, then Launceston, as Dad pursued his career as a health surveyor. During these years, Mum was busy raising us boys, also took on part-time work as a medical secretary and typist. After a sojourn to the UK in 1977, we returned to Hobart, settling in Geilston Bay and finally Rose Bay. Mum volunteered for Meals on Wheels for over 20 years and also worked at the Braille Library as a brailer for 32 years. Excuse me. In recent years, up to the week before she died, Mum also volunteered at the Queen Victoria Care Home, helping the oldies to their appointments and no doubt chatting kindly to everyone. Recently, Mum said her interests were gardening, embroidery, knitting, not only for family but friends and the disadvantaged, both here and overseas. And music, she could play the piano. I would add crosswords, reading and board games. And when she was younger, she also enjoyed dancing and sport, both swimming, achieving her life-saving medallions, and badminton. Although Mum was raised with a Christian faith in the Anglican tradition, in her later life, she seems to have let this go. Mum was a talented, caring and generous woman who loved her family and friends dearly. She had significant loss and grief in her life. From those early losses already mentioned, through to the loss in 1964 of a third child named Brian at birth. Her brother Jeffrey died in 2002, and her husband Harold died from Parkinson's in the same year. Her daughter-in-law Angela to cancer in 2010. Her sister Mary in 2014. Her fortitude and resilience have been remarkable, and people have. Often we would hear, "Your mum's amazing." Her tidiness and cleanliness were a blessing and sometimes a burden. Her playful sense of humour and intellect remained sharp throughout her life, not to mention her excellent handwriting. She remained open to new ideas and ways of seeing things and was always willing to listen. She cared for others deeply. There were always older and increasingly younger people in her life who she particularly cared for. Whilst Mum's sudden passing has been a shock and deeply sad for us all, we also know that she would much prefer to have died this way rather than having any long-term illness or disability. We are deeply grateful that she was our mum, grandma, auntie and friend. We'll miss her, but know that her legacies will live on in people's lives. She will live on in our hearts. We love you. Rest in peace, Mum. Thank you. Now my daughter Jessica is going to read a tribute from Helen Tudor, Mum's niece, and then I'll come back and read.
Hi everybody. So I'm just going to read a tribute here sent in from Helen, Jean's niece. Helen, I think, is watching online. Jean was my godmother, auntie, and because there's only 10 years difference in our ages, She was like my older sister. My father was away at war when I was born, so my mother lived with her parents and Jean at Bedford Street. After the war, my parents bought a house close by. Jean and I used to play games like hide and seek and played on the pianola together. We also spent Christmas holidays regularly at Orford, where my paternal grandparents owned a beach resort. I spent many memorable picnics with Jean and my grandparents. The New Year's Eve parties were renowned and would have been wonderful fun for the teenage Jean, whereas I was no doubt put to bed before midnight. In 1955, I attended Jean and Harold's wedding in Hobart, where they set up a house in Mount Stewart. I used to visit and even babysit David and John. After they moved to Burnie, I also moved there for 12 months after finishing my training at the RHH. It was great to have family there, and I often had evening dinners at their home and went for picnics with them around the north of the state. However, once the family moved to the UK and I moved to Canberra, we relied on letters and cards. And then later, when they moved back to Tassie, telephone communication, then the occasional catch-up when I could make it down to Tassie. As my parents aged, Jean was so caring and helpful, taking my mother to do the weekly supermarket trips and bringing afternoon tea delights for them. Later, after Dad died, she was very attentive to Mum, who relied on her regular visits to the aged care home. In 2016, Jean came to Canberra for a holiday with me, so despite the weather being in the high 30s and over 40 some days, we managed to visit all the usual Canberra tourist venues, shop and catch up with my family. I'm only sorry the opportunity hasn't been available again. We have, however, been chatting on the phone regularly, checking up on each other's health, families, sharing much gardening advice, discussing TV programs and the state of the nation. Jean was just amazing how she cared for her own garden and did volunteer work at the local aged care home, plus keeping up age-appropriate exercise classes once a week. It has been a pleasure to reminisce and to write this, as it makes me realise how intertwined our lives have been and how lucky I've been to have such a caring, thoughtful and loving auntie all my life. She will be missed by my family, especially by me. Vale, Auntie Jean.
So this is a tribute from Jan Harding, who's with us here today. Jean was to me the perfect neighbour and friend. We got on so well, both loved reading and would swap good books. Puzzles and crosswords were another big interest. Jean had a huge dictionary and I had encyclopedias, no computers for us, and we were able to solve most things together. Our gardens were another pleasure we enjoyed, and we loved swapping seeds, cuttings and garden knowledge and helping each other out. Last year we started going to exercises together, where we had lots of laughs and music and good company. We both looked forward to Tuesday mornings. Thank you for your friendships, sense of humour, good company, cups of tea and coffee, interesting conversations and time spent together. You are very missed and hold an extra special place in my heart. Love, Jan.
This is a tribute for Auntie Jean from Ian and Wendy Demden, Jean's nephew and niece-in-law in Brisbane. You will all have wonderful memories of the lady whose life we celebrate today. These are just a few of ours. In 2010, Jean visited us in Queensland for the first time, not long after we moved up from Tasmania, and she came almost every year since then. And what fun we had. From the start, I had to persuade her that her legs looked great in shorts, and all the old ladies up here wore them out shopping. That took a bit of doing, but we got there eventually. We took her for picnics by the water, trips to see live theatre shows, drives in the countryside and along the coast, visits to cousin Rosemary and Peter in Noosa, bus trips to lavender farms and river cruises. We went to Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, where she promptly declared that Tassie devils are much, much bigger and more fierce in Tasmania, and the lavender bushes are much more purple. At times, she was absolutely hilarious. Jean loved every minute of her fortnights in Queensland. But it was here in the retirement village that she felt so welcome. So many of our friends here remembered her each time she arrived, to the point where they would often ask, "When's Auntie Jean coming up this year?" Always Auntie Jean, never just Jean, even though some of them are older than her. She used to have a chuckle over that. They even invited her to dinner quite a few times. They thought the world of her. So there are a few sad fig tree friends who are sending their love today. Geraldine, Bruce, Coral, Ron, Nola, Faye, Norma, June, and many more. Our family also have lovely memories of great-great Auntie Jean. Julia, Daniel, Andrew, Nicholas, Annette, Neil, and Henry send their love. As a fond farewell, the picture we're all holding on to is of Jean gently swaying in the warm breeze, lying on our garden swing, pen and puzzle book in hand, cup of tea close by, smiling, surrounded by an aura of happiness and tranquility, at peace with the world. And Auntie Jean, trust me, the shorts look great. Goodbye from us all.
And this is some words from Jean's friend Ruth Moyer, who's also here today. What a beautiful friendship over 40 years. I met Jean doing Meals on Wheels, and the friendship developed from there. Jean was a warm and kind person and a loyal friend to me. She was always there when I needed a hand, and we had so many happy times together. About 20 years ago, we shared the driving on road trips around Tasmania. Sundays for me will never be the same again, as we always met on Sunday afternoon to play Scrabble and Rummy Cub and enjoy a slice of cake. Thank you.
John, Jessica, and those of you who authored those beautiful tributes, thank you so much. That really painted a beautiful picture of this woman that you've had the privilege of knowing for all of those years. So, thank you. And now a musical tribute. So Chris Waller is going to now play a version of the song that Jean absolutely loved called Going Home. So we'll just give Chris a moment to get going. Enjoy. Thank you so much, Christopher. Now, sometimes we do wonder why we take so many photos, and then on days like today, we're really pleased that we've taken those photos and we've kept them, and the family have chosen some to share today. So enjoy. That's why we take photos, isn't it? Beautiful. We've included a poem today. This poem is really significant because it was read at Jean's husband's funeral service. So we're reading it today in the hope that it can provide a little bit of comfort on a day where I know that you would all prefer to be somewhere else. But perhaps if you can imagine Jean speaking these words, they might give you some comfort. And it's a little poem called "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep." Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. And so it is now time that we do say farewell. Could I please ask you to be upstanding? Jean Cameron Chadderton, it is time to say goodbye. Jean, you are so dearly loved. You are in the hearts and minds of your family and friends, and they will carry you with them as they go on with their lives. Everything you have done is still done. Everyone you loved is still loved, and everything they've learnt from you is still learnt. And so they will let you pass from this world to which you gave so much. You leave them with the strength to do what is good and what is right, and your memory will guide them just as you did when you were at their side. And for this, they say thank you. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose on earth. It's a time to be born and a time to die. And here in this final act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation and celebration of a good life, we say goodbye to Jean, but know that she will live on in your hearts forever. If you could just remain upstanding. And family and friends, both here and on the live stream, just for today, when your heart feels like breaking, remember that grief is the price we pay for loving. And the reason that you hurt today is because you had the privilege of loving so much. We're now going to close this service with another piece of music that Jean really enjoyed. It's been my privilege to be here today. Take care, everyone, and rest in peace, Jean.
I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet glowing breast. A tree that that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has